You want me to sit here? Is this okay? So what does all you can eat fries, being lactose intolerant, and having an interview have in common? Well, stick around because I'm going to tell you all about it on this episode of Tales from the Shitter with the Spaniard. As far back as I could remember, I always enjoyed the interview process. I think one of my first jobs I ever had was a delivery guy for a radiator company near my house. I would walk to the garage, this radiator place, and then I would use their vehicles, trucks, cars, whatever they had to deliver parts and stuff. But the process was cool to me. I enjoyed talking about myself. I never got a chance to do it that much in school. So whenever I had an interview, there you go, right? You have a chance to talk about yourself. So as far back as I can remember, I didn't mind the interview process. I was eager to get into the workforce after I got out of the military. And one of the first jobs that I decided to go back into was the eyeglass industry. Now, believe it or not, before I went into the military, I worked for an eyeglass company, meaning I worked in the lab that made those 1-hour glasses that you would get at the malls or what have you. Well, I made them. I made eyeglasses part-time when I was in high school. And then when I got back from the Marines, I wanted to get back into the business. I happened to stumble upon this job, and it was in a strip mall. So I applied, got the interview. Well, I went to the interview and it was probably about 1:00. It was in the afternoon. And that's one thing about that. I try to schedule interviews more in the mornings so I can get them out of the way. But this time it was not up to me. I get to interviews pretty early. And if you guys don't know me yet, I like to get to places at least, a half hour early. And it's just more of a nerve thing. It's another story in itself. I'll talk about that another time. I get to the location and I'm looking around and I see a restaurant. And this is after lunch. I haven't eaten anything all day because I knew that if I ate a big breakfast, even a little breakfast, my stomach would not cooperate with me. Okay, you know what I mean? So I didn't eat anything all day. So we're getting at this point now where my stomach is making way more noises than I would like it to. And I saw this restaurant and it had this big banner, right? It said, all you can eat fries. Boom. Now, you know me. You know how I like free shit. So that drew my eyes to there. And I said, you know what? I still got about another, I got to this interview way early. I think I got to this interview 2 hours early just to make sure I didn't get stuck in traffic. I was really, over the top as far as getting to this place early. So I still had some time to kill. I had at least an hour before the interview began. So I did it. I went to this place. Now, I don't know if this place is still around, but this place was known for its handmade hamburgers. They were big. These motherfuckers were huge, right? And it came with a full bar to deck it up any way you wanted. Lettuce, tomato, onions. It had the works. It had a cheese bar. In fact, it had 2 kinds of cheese bars. And I loaded this burger up. And of course, they had this special going on for free fries. So I said, what the hell? I could eat a quick lunch. I'll make the interview. Boom, bada bing. I'm in, I'm out. I got the job. Boom, right? I did it. I got the biggest fucking burger you've ever seen. And the fries just kept coming. I kept going back for more fries. The first time I put melted cheddar cheese. The second time I put melted mozzarella cheese. The second time, I don't know if it was Gouda, some other crazy kind of shit cheese that they were having. I was going to have it all, right? So I got done, got lunch, headed over to my interview. I'm sitting there in the lobby and I'm next, right? I know I'm next for this interview. And I start to feel it, man. The noises are beyond belief at this point. So I'm looking, man. I'm casing the joint. I'm casing the area. Now, this place was a lobby. This was like an eyeglass doctor, right? This was an eye doctor that sold eyeglasses next to it. So in the same location. So I get there. I'm in the lobby and I see the restrooms, right? So I I try to distract, like, because one of my fears is I don't like, well, this is, even back then, I did not like to go in public places. The second fear was I didn't want people who saw me go to these public bathrooms to know how long I spent in there. In my mind, I thought people were keeping track of how long I was doing, and they knew if I spent more than 2 or 3 minutes, they knew I was going number 2. So, stupid irrational fear of mine. I made sure I just had them work on something so that I could draw their attention away from me and go that way. So I managed to do it. I got to the bathroom. I get there. I mean, I had to go bad. I mean, it was one of those where I was so thankful that I didn't have a belt malfunction or a snap or zipper malfunction. I mean, I had to go that bad. It was the combination of the cheese and the sauteed onions. I mean, the caramelized onions, let me tell you, they were something good. Anyway, it was a combination of all those. It was coming out of me. It had to come out one way or the other. So I went to the first exit I could get to, right? Exit for my ass, that is. I got to the place. I got there, and it was noisy, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you, this was the noisiest I think I've ever heard myself at that time. And the relief, the joy, and then all of a sudden, a calm silence came about the room. The door opened, and I heard women's voices talking. I looked around, and I noticed that the walls were a strange color that I wasn't familiar with. It was more of a, how can I say? It was more of a feminine color. I was in the wrong bathroom. I just discovered that I was in the wrong place. There was nothing I could do. I was mortified because not only was I trying to mask the horrendous odor that had overtaken that room, but there was no escaping it. But I wasn't finished. As the voices got a little louder in the room, my grunts could no longer be hidden. I tried to make them sound feminine, if that makes any sense. And the only thing I heard a whisper say, "Oh my." That's when I knew I had been had. Well, luckily for me, the porcelain gods were looking down upon me and gave me a chance to get out of there with some dignity. The women left. I had to look outside first to see if the coast was clear. It was a covert mission to get back to the lobby. Needless to say, ladies and gentlemen, I made the interview. But there's more. Yes, there's more. Midway through the interview, my stomach started acting up again. Whatever I ate was not finished carnage on my innards. The sweat was pouring down my forehead. The interviewer was looking at me as if I was hiding something, and there was no hiding it. I endured that interview. I endured it with every moral fiber I had to keep everything within me, not only physically, but mentally. It was the most excruciating pain I have ever had. As soon as I left the interview, I found the nearest. In fact, I went to the place where this all started. I went back to that restaurant. And luckily for me, as soon as you open the doors, the bathrooms were right there. And I was able to save my day. I soon went back to my car, exhausted. It felt as if I did 1,000 crunches and 300 sit-ups and 500 leg lifts. My abs were torn beyond all recognition. Later on that day, I received a phone call on my answering machine. Yes, we're going that far back. There was a message on my answering machine that said that I had the job. Well, I accepted the job, and days went on, weeks went on, and I remember hearing a discussion in the employee break room about how the two women were discussing about that one time where somebody went into the wrong bathroom. Well, luckily for me, they never knew it was yours truly, and that secret still stays today. Hey man, this is the Spaniard. Thanks for tuning in, not tuning out. Tune in next week where I talk about my first, I call them clothing casualties. I'll talk more about that next week. But until then, thank you for tuning in. Have a great day, great night, great evening. You know it, you name it, you call it. This is the Spaniard. Out. Or something.